That? There you go. Okay? Now, told you, I lowered them to 3. It's perfect, isn't it?
You did good.
Okay? Here's the third one. Now, I say probably the most controversial one for last. This is the most controversial myth. This is the one that if anyone that's not in this room is watching this video, will probably send me hate mail. If you do, that's Dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, at SavannahBuddhismGroup.com. Okay? Dharma, okay? What do Buddhists think of Jesus Christ? That's controversial. Okay? What do Buddhists think of Jesus? Well, first of all, they don't. Here's why. The Buddha died, if my calculations are right, 537 years before the birth of Jesus. So it's fair to say that nowhere in any of the Buddhist teachings, nowhere in the 84,000 teachings done, is there probably one mention of Jesus Christ. There can't be. It's kind of hard to write a book about somebody who's not born yet. So, there is no teaching when it comes to Jesus and the Buddhist culture. Now that we're in 2012 and Buddhism is now worldwide, okay, it's no longer only taught in Tibet. It's no longer only taught in Nepal. It's no longer only taught in Dharamsala. It's a worldwide religion now. There's 500 million of us. We're growing. Okay? Now that it's worldwide, you reach into different areas that now you're learning of Jesus Christ. Well, first of all, that's Dharma at Savannah Buddhism, okay? Jesus' last name is not Christ. Okay?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay?
Sorry.
No,
I never thought it was.
okay.
Maybe some people.
Jesus' last name is not Christ.
He doesn't have a last name.
Okay? What is Christ? Christ is essentially a label placed upon him. Christ means the anointed one, right? Just like Buddha means the awakened one. Okay? Now, the Buddha was a Buddhist. Wrap your minds around that one. The Buddha wasn't Buddhist, no more than Jesus was a Christian. Okay? Jesus was a Jew. The Buddha was Hindu. So, if you look at that, and you look at Jesus being a Jew, and Christ being a title given to him because of what he was able to do, and Gautama being called the Buddha because what he was able to do, you're able to look at both the Buddha and Jesus and see similarities. There are many, many similarities when it comes to Buddha and Jesus. Okay? Now, what do we think of Jesus? I can't speak for all 500 million Buddhists out there. I can speak to this one sitting right here in Southeast Georgia, though. Okay? And I can speak for what my lineage teaches and what my lineage believes. Tibetan Buddhists see Jesus as something called a bodhisattva. Anybody know what a bodhisattva is? I'm sure you do. Okay? A bodhisattva is someone who has put off their enlightenment. They have reached a level of enlightenment, something called bodhicitta. Okay? Bodhicitta being an enlightened mind, a perfect mind. They are someone who has obtained bodhicitta, and they're called a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva is someone who puts off their enlightenment until every single being on this earth has reached a level of enlightenment. Then and only then does that individual go into their own enlightenment. Does that sound familiar when it comes to Christianity? Okay? We see Jesus as a bodhisattva. We see Jesus as a very, very good teacher, as a very good spiritual teacher. We also see him as a perfect being because he reached that level of being a perfect being. Okay? I don't have a problem with Jesus. I don't have a problem with Christianity. I believe wholeheartedly in every ethical teaching that Jesus ever gave. I agree with it. But I agree also with every teaching that the Buddha gave. Does that make me a bad Buddhist? Who am I to say? Okay? I don't think it does. I think it makes me somewhat a better one, because now I understand the concept behind Christianity and what their thought processes are. I can look at that person now that is now Jewish. I can look at them. I've studied Judaism. Okay? I can look at someone who's Hindu because I've studied Hinduism. That is what, to me, being a Buddhist is. So, do Buddhists believe in Jesus? What do you think, Joe?
Probably some do and probably some don't.
Thank you. Good answer. Some do, some don't, and some just flat out don't know. Okay? Some do, some don't. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay if they do. And it's okay if they don't. And it's also okay if they don't know. What do you think?
I agree. He said, to each their own.
To each their own. Okay? To each their own. To me, it was important for me to look at the similarities between the two. Okay? It was important for me to look at the different sutras that the Buddha taught. And then remembering my upbringing as a Christian and remembering some of the things that they taught. And then being able to bring those together and put them together within me. If you ask me, it made me a more rounded person. It made me a better person. Okay? You'll never hear His Holiness the Dalai Lama put down a religion, and you'll never hear me do it. You'll never hear me do it. You believe what you want to believe when you want to believe. Like I said, in this country, there's freedom of religion. You want to lay down and worship a dead goat, go for it. Wouldn't recommend it. But if you think that gets you to your next level, if you think that gets you to your own level of spirituality, then by all means, man, get your worship on. Do it. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and ask anybody to be converted. I'm not going to ask anybody to do any of that. Only thing I'm going to ask you to do is, as you go throughout your day, try to be more mindful of what you say, more mindful of what you do, and more mindful of what you think. Start putting others before yourself. Okay? Try to, at some time during each day, try to do some random act of kindness for someone else. Random. Okay? Don't go up and hand them a gift and go, look what I did. There you go. Oh, did you see what I gave? You see what I gave you? Yeah, I did that. Anonymously. Do some random act of kindness for a complete and total stranger. I can see y'all going, no. Okay? Have compassion for your fellow man. Okay? If you see someone hurting, if you can't help them, at least have compassion for them.
Mm-hmm.